Hiya, it's Thursday's Talking Reds. We're in lovely Liverpool city centre. It's massively sunny today, but Ash seems to have put us in the coldest spot ever. I'm Josh Sexton, joined by Gareth Roberts. And Gareth, one of the first things to talk about, we were just talking about before we started filming there, this sort of Andy Robertson situation, which is going on at the moment. He's deactivated his Twitter account. That's the extent to which we know is a fact. I think there's been some assumptions or maybe reports that he's done that because of sort of Twitter abuse, and if so, then obviously that's massively out of order. But it seems to be a sort of increasing thing these days, doesn't it? That a player does something wrong in a game, makes one sort of mistake, if you want to perceive it to be that, although it's not a penalty anyway. That's the first place to start with it. But they make one mistake, and then there's these lads on Twitter who are absolutely all over them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just grim. I mean, it almost makes you, question what social media is for and whether it's all worth it, really. I mean, I think this idea of sort of having a thick skin or a stiff upper lip and all this, it's just bollocks, and it's just outdated thinking. Like, if someone's like continually throwing abuse at you and you're reading negative stuff about yourself, it's not good for you. And no matter how fucking stiff your upper lip is or how thick your skin is, it gets to you, it gets in your head, you're thinking about it, it's becoming part of your day or your night. And he's not said anything obviously about why it is, but what he did do, which is I wouldn't think a coincidence, is he said after the Scotland games that he sort of locked himself away in a room, I think was the phrase. And so you thought then it sounds like he's having a bit of a tough time. And I was doing something with Paul Robinson this week, and I was just talking to him about when you're taking abuse, when people are getting stuck in about a mistake or when you fucked it up. I mean, footy's full of mistakes. Life is full of mistakes. No one has a perfect 90 minutes week after week. It just doesn't happen. And yet everyone piles on when there's a mistake. It's fucking ridiculous. But he said the same. He said, it's hard to deal with. He said, you don't want to watch Match of the Day. You don't want to pick up a paper. You don't want to listen to the radio. And, Paul obviously made a very high profile one for England as well, which again, he didn't mean to do it on purpose, but he got absolutely destroyed for it. So I just think it's a bit grim. It's really grim, and grim especially when it's supposed fans of a team doing it to someone who plays for their team. I mean, what are you achieving there other than shooting yourself in the foot? Basically, it doesn't add up.
And Robertson, of all people, you think is probably one of the players in this Liverpool team who you'd find it hard to criticise. He seems like a dead down-to-earth lad. He wins the Anfield Wraps embodiment of LFC award, which sort of, it tells you everything you need to know about Robertson, the person and the player as well. He gives 100% on the pitch every week, and he gives 100% to the cause off the field as well. He's done so much for charity since he's been at Liverpool, and he's just great for the fans to have a player like that in the team, isn't he?
And for Scotland as well. I mean, they love him up there, but again, if some lads up there or some girls up there are getting stuck in, you're just like, well, what are you getting stuck in for? You've got a mural of him on the side of Hampden Park. You seem to rate him. And yet you're right, we've been fortunate enough to meet him a few times and do stuff with him. He's a great lad. He 100% gets it. He's also, I think you can see from the way he plays, an emotional person, and some of us are. And if things are getting to him that he sees on social media, then I don't think we should criticise him for it. I mean, I'm not going to say who this is, but there's someone else I know who plays footy or did not so long back, and he made a mistake, if you like, on the television not so long back, and got death threats off the back of it. And it's like, really? And a lot of people just say, oh, it's just throw away. People say whatever, because it's a keyboard and it's anonymous and all that. It's not on though. It's just not on. I had it years ago. I wrote something for the Mirror years ago, just an opinion piece on the footy, and the first reply to it that day was, go and hang yourself. And it was like, sound, what a world. So I mean, it'd be great if everyone just stopped being pricks on the internet, really. I mean, what's the point in it all? Yeah. It does make you question the whole thing. I mean, social media is obviously good for us. It's helped to build the Anfield app, but I've got to be honest, been plenty of times where I've just thought, what's the point? And I've been on the verge of deleting it all and just walking away and saying, fuck it. And it must be times a million if you're a famous and brilliant footballer. So
yeah, one of the things I always say is it's nice to be nice. So I sort of want to try and flip this into a positive. I know Sean, our social media fella, did a tweet yesterday about an Andy Robertson appreciation thing, and it's done all of the numbers. So I sort of want to talk about my favourite Andy Robertson moment, but I'll get yours first. What's your favourite Andy Robertson moment in a Liverpool shirt?
There's been loads. I mean, I really enjoyed at the weekend, to be honest, where I actually felt that initially he wasn't the Andy Robertson that we know he can be. And he I felt like he got himself into the game himself just by emotion, endeavour and getting stuck in. And he put a big tackle in, didn't he, which lifted the whole ground, and I thought like Liverpool's performance from then kicked on, and so did his. So that's up there. But I think probably the best one is probably Roma away, when I can't remember the player, but he just took him out on the wing basically, and left them sprawling on a running track. So I just, I really enjoyed that. Obviously, little spats with Messi and stuff like that as well. A little tap on the head. Yeah. Love all that kind of thing. Love sort of the idea of, in a game circumstance, by the way, not just randomly, but getting under people's skin, trying to find an edge in a game. It's all fair. It's all part of the game. I mean, I'm sure he would have shook his hand at the end and asked him if he could swap shirts, and Messi probably told him to fuck off.
Yeah, I think what most people would say for their favourite moment is that endless run against City as well, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
but I loved his goal against Brighton. It secures us a place in the Champions League, which we then go on to win the next season. And it's one of them goals where you can tell from the player who scored it, he doesn't really know how to celebrate. It's just passion, I suppose. He's just sort of running around, pumping his fist and just screaming his head off, and that's what I absolutely love to see in a footballer. But we've done loads of dissecting that Napoli game. One of them in particular was on our Tour Player video subscription service called The Second Look. I'm going to put a clip into that for you now.
Welcome back. In one of those quirks of football and fate, John, you were talking about Ancelotti's attitude beforehand in the first part. In one of those quirks of football and fate, Liverpool get beat 2-0. It's probably the keeper's best game for us. Yeah, that save's unreal, isn't it? And do you know what, even before that, like when he makes the double save in the first half, I'd sort of forgotten his name, and I was like, oh, Alisson's good, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Like, you just, which is daft because he's not played at all for ages, but you just, you get so kind of wrapped up in it, and then when I remembered it was Adrian, I was sort of even more pleased, you know what I mean? Because he's, you can be hypercritical if you want and say he's knocking it back into dangerous areas, but I think he gets enough on that first one to say, well, I've actually cleared. It's 12, 13 yards out. Yeah, and then the second one he just needs to react like there's no way to. The second one's a great save. Yeah, the second one's a better save, and also you just need to get something on it, and that's what he does. And so I think that the save in the second half is just absolutely unreal. I retweeted something about Bob Mortimer when he was saying, why aren't they saying more about this? And I was pleased because obviously he's a Middlesbrough fan, he's got no skin in the game. He's like, well, why haven't they just stopped the game so we can all have a chat about the save? Like, there's a little bit of luck involved in that. I think he's just launched himself. He's unlucky with the penalty as well. Yeah, he is. He gets a decent hand on that, and I think sometimes he'd be critical of goalies when they get there, but I think he hits it so powerfully. I think you've just got to say he was unlucky. But yeah, he looks good, he looks confident, and there was someone in our Facebook subscribers group, weren't they, saying, does Alisson definitely get back in now? I mean, he does. That's absolutely clear. But even someone making that shout just shows how well he's doing the moments. It's the save, the second half save is tremendous. It's what I like. There's two things I liked about the second half save. The first one is he notices that gloriously Virgil's missed it completely. Before Virgil's possibly even aware, Alisson, Adrian is aware, and that's one of the reasons why he jumps as early as he does. And then the second part of it is the strength of the hand. Yeah. So there's two aspects to it really, where he's gone early, but he's gone big, strong, bold early, and it's the strength of the hand. Yeah, and like I say, the anticipation, that's what you want from a goalkeeper, the decisiveness to know exactly where he needs to put himself. And then maybe you could call it luck or whatever, but it's the fact that it's his backhand and it comes out so strong, and it's just, you'll see the look on Merton's face after it happened. That tells you all you need to know about that save. And he needed a moment, didn't he? I mean, yes, we had the Super Cup final, which is the penalties and all that kind of stuff, but that's kind of, you can say, yes, that's his moment, but essentially that's not going to happen every game because we're not going to have a penalty shootout in every game.
Yeah, that was our second look video. That's on our app. You can download that for free, and you'll get a load of free tokens to spend on some of our premium shows, and you can just sort of have a bit of a feel around, play around, and see what you fancy. Gareth, one thing that I fancy is our players signing new deals, and Van Dijk has come out and said, he's not going to discuss his new deal yet, which I feel like you're seeing more commonly these days with players, aren't you? Is that it's while the season's going on, and maybe there's journalists asking these questions to them in press conferences or in mix zones. They're just sort of saying, look, I want to focus on the footy, and that could be because their agents are the ones who are mostly negotiating the deals and not them themselves. But I think it's the right mentality to have for Van Dijk, isn't it? His deal goes till 2023. There's no rush to sign a new one as such, and you'd imagine, he's not going to want to go anywhere else in Liverpool anyway.
You wouldn't think so, no. He seems very happy here. He's obviously the man at Liverpool. He's wearing the armbands here and there as well now, and I think look, we've been in this place before with players, of course, and then it's bit us on the arse and they've left, but you just don't get the sense with Van Dijk and with anyone really at Liverpool at the moment that, you know, the angling to leave. There's obviously constant speculation because of how good the players are. You know, players have been linked to Real Madrid for as long as I've been alive. It's just how they operate. I mean, you know, I was doing a piece a while back about the 1990 season when we last won the league. And, you know, John Barnes is brilliant around that era, obviously. And guess what? Liverpool are going for the title, and John Barnes is linked to Real Madrid. And it's like, you know, so it's gone on forever. And I think, you know, said before on a show that Barcelona and Madrid are very political football teams in terms of, you know, they're constantly pitching to the fans that, you know, we're the best people in charge, we're the right manager, we're the right president, whatever. And so because of that, it's to their advantage to constantly be linked to top players around Europe, as though the wheels are continually turning, as though they're always looking to improve and so on. So I always take any link to them with a huge pinch of salt, because we know with Coutinho, for example, that when it's true, you really know about it. You know, it's all over Sky, agents get involved, all the dirty tactics start and all the rest of it. On this, you know, he's been linked, Mo's been linked, Sadio's been linked. I think it's just all bollocks. I think they'll be all right, and if Liverpool continue to challenge for the top honours, which they are doing again, then you imagine the players stick around, because it looks like a fun place to work.
Yeah, and to flip it around, you know, I remember a time where when you're a Liverpool supporter, if you were, you know, looking at players on the continent that you could buy, you were thinking, oh, Real Madrid and Barcelona are too good, their players are too good, they won't want to come to us. You maybe got Manchester United who are sort of challenging at the top of the league, and you're thinking, well, they're not going to sell us any of their players. And you've got to look at it in that sense now, really, don't you? Is that Liverpool are better than Real Madrid and Barcelona. You've seen that over their games in the last 2 nights. Real Madrid were absolutely terrible last night. There's not going to be that desire from Liverpool's players really to be looking at them clubs you'd imagine. And then also if a City wants to come in for Van Dijk, well, why are we going to sell to City?
And the other thing is as well that, you know, I think Coutinho's sort of a tale of, you know, the grass isn't always greener than that, because, you know, he gets his movie goes and then it's been a nightmare for him and he's ended up going out on loan. And maybe other players look at that and go, well, I'm happy here, my family's happy here, I'm in the team every week, we're challenging, the fans love me, Anfield's a great experience week after week. Kind of why would you leave? I mean, there's the old chestnuts, obviously, money, weather, etc. There's not much we can do about that. We can't turn the sun on in Liverpool, unfortunately, more than we get. But I think money-wise as well, like Liverpool are competing. That's the other thing about these contracts that you keep seeing. I think if you remember when FSG first came in, and you know the NESV or whatever they were when they came in then, but they, you know, it came out that they were shocked by the sort of payment structure at the club and the wages that some players who were frankly grim were on, and they wanted it to be more based on if you win things, if you're playing every week, if you're scoring goals, then you will be rewarded. And I think that's what we're seeing. So when these contracts are getting redone and players are getting tied down, they're being rewarded for the fact that they've been brilliant for Liverpool for the last 12 months.
Absolutely, and there's a few of you wondering where Gareth's been gone, by the way, from the YouTube channel. Don't worry, he's still on a load of our videos, still fronts up a load of our videos, and you can get them on our Tour app. If you go to the Apple App Store or the Google Play App Store, you can get that on your Android or your iPhone and that kind of thing. So yeah, if you want to see more of Gareth, then that's always a positive, isn't it?
Yeah, get involved. The stuff is, you know, on the behind the paywall now for, and people are saying like, you know, single shows, oh well, as if you just pay for this. Well, you're not. You're paying for the whole video package. So all the stuff that used to be on the YouTube last season, the preview show, the post-match pints, there's a stat show on there as well. We've got loads of documentaries planned that we'll be getting stuck into, loads of good ideas around the video product, so we want you to get involved. So come and have a look, and as Josh said before as well, there's a token system on there so you can check out a few things for nothing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, download that app and get on it. Nice.